Hi all, welcome to the stream of the Boonville Lumberjacks versus the Glens Falls Dragons. This is Grant Walters on the call. Coming to this game, the Lumberjacks are 11-8. They just suffered a walk-off loss to the Utica Blue Sox, which was the second time of the season that they lost on a walk-off to their rival, while the Glens Falls Dragons come into this game off a ninth-inning comeback against the Stallions, where they were able to really rally off a Joe Carpier's two-run blast to put them ahead in that game. So they're coming into this with some momentum, while the Lumberjacks are reeling a little bit. But on the mound for tonight for the Lumberjacks will be Drew Turner, making his fourth start of the season for the Lumberjacks. He currently has a 2-1 record on the season and also has a sub-4 ERA as well. And for the Glens Falls Dragons, it'll be RJ Ensel on the mound. He started in the first game against the Boonville Lumberjacks and spun a great game. He pitched just 4 innings but only allowed 1 earned run in that contest. And that was off the bat of Andy Perez, who sent a blast to left field over that fence. But the Lumberjacks, they've had the Dragons' number as of recent. They're coming off 2 run rule victories against the squad, beating them 13-0 last week and then 10-0 this week. So they have really dominated the Dragons as of recent. Their lineup has really gotten going. And they've also shut out the Dragons in both of those games. So the pitching staff has put in some great performances against the Glens Falls Dragons lineup. But we're happy to have you here for tonight's game between these two squads. We'll be back after the anthem and when Drew Turner starts warming up for his start. Thank you for tuning in. And we are back as Drew Turner steps onto the mound for the Boonville Lumberjacks. The right-handed pitcher, been a staple for the Lumberjacks pitching staff. He currently boasts a 1.33 whip, 3.60 ERA, along with 24 strikeouts and 15 innings pitched on the season. He's away from Boonville for a week to do some college recruiting stuff, but he is back for the Lumberjacks. Most recently got a win against the Mohawk Valley Diamond Dogs in the Lumberjacks' most recent doubleheader against them in Little Falls, where he looked great on the mound, allowed the Lumberjacks to really respond after losing the first doubleheader game 9-3. But the Lumberjacks, behind the plate, they have Jacob Newland, and they've been rotating between three guys at the catcher position this season, with Newland and Bo Jonas getting the most starts there. So he is assuming the duties behind the plate for Boonville tonight. A little bit of a shakeup in the middle of the infield. The Angel Santiago still starting at shortstop, but Sebastian Burgos moving over to second base. He's played in the outfield a little bit as well as third base this season to allow Miguel Gonzalez and Angel Santiago to play in the middle of the infield, as that is a first pitch strike there on the inside of the plate for make it an 0-1 count here on Tyree Jackson, who is the leadoff hitter for the Glens Falls Dragons. And Drew Turner gets him to deflect that ball right there. So quick 0-2 count on Tyree Jackson. Tyree Jackson, excellent contact hitter, as you would like to see in the leadoff spot, but Turner with the 0-2 pitch here, he gets him in the hand right there, and that's going to walk him onto first base here. The Lumberjacks ended the game last night on a hit pitch and start the game here on a hit pitch as well. So that carries over into this match. It was a heartbreaking blow for the Lumberjacks, who sustained their second walk-off loss to their arch nemesis in the Utica Blue Sox. You never want to see it on a hit by pitch, since that's an avoidable play. And that'll bring up Tyler Figueroa to the plate as he takes a first pitch ball on the inside there. Tried to fit in the same spot we saw Turner fit it into in the first at-bat, but he doesn't get the call from the ump there. But Figueroa, he's a .212 batting average this season, along with 10 walks. And Turner here with the delivery, he puts that just inside for ball 2. And Tyree Jackson remains on first base. He does have some excellent speed out there, one of the fastest players on the Glens Falls Dragons roster. See if Ryan Dio gives him the green light to steal this bag here. As Drew Turner winds and delivers that and puts it right on the inside of the plate there for strike 1 in the count. As he fit that one into the zone there, he has been relentlessly attacking the inside part of the zone throughout this contest so far. As Turner looks back, Jackson takes a little step there, and he's going to fire it back to first base, but not in time. He's able to slide into first safely. But Figueroa, this is his first at-bat against the Boonville Lumberjacks this season, so he hasn't seen much action against the team. So with the 2-1 delivery, he dribbles that on the ground right into the mid of Andy Perez, who fires it over to second base. Sebastian Burgos is not going to be able to turn that in time there, but fielder's choice to get the first out here.
Number 13, Joe Carpier.
Is Joe Carpier steps up to the plate here for the Glens Falls Dragons. So able to get that first out of the inning on the lead runner. Good fielding from Andy Perez to fire that over to Sebastian Burgos at second base. Carpier, he was the one that had that 2-run blast last game to put the Glens Falls Dragons above the Stallions, and he gets him to cut right through that pitch here. So Drew Turner has a payoff pitch here. see what he can do with it with a man on first base. And he gets him to cut right through that there. As that is going to be the second out of the inning on just 3 pitches there for Drew Turner.
Cameron Miller.
So 2 outs. Cameron Miller steps up to the plate here for the Dragons. Figueroa on first base still. Drew Turner winds and delivers that and gets it right past him on an outside off-speed pitch there. Great location from Turner. Been attacking the inside of the plate early in this contest, but gets him well ahead on that pitch as he was expecting a fastball to be delivered there. That one is going for ball 1 in the count. So evening at 1. 2 outs and still a man on first base. Cameron Miller, one of the players for the Glens Falls Dragons that plays both a position and also pitches as well. He's pitched some innings for the team this season, as that one is just low there on the outside. Going to bring up a 2-1 count on Cameron Miller. But Cameron Miller, he's batting 167 this season. Has 2 RBIs as well. He's up 2-1 count here, as that is going to be the 3rd ball of the count, giving him a hitter's count. Let's see what Miller can do with that here. He only has a slugging percentage of 167, so hasn't displayed much pop in his bat, but that could change just like that as Turner puts that down and low for ball number 4. That is going to put him on base as they get a runner into scoring position with Tyler Figueroa at second base. So Glens Falls threatening here with 2 outs. Let's see what Turner can do to get out of it as Robert Mello steps up to the plate. The student at Army West Point. As Turner winds and delivers that, and he skies that deep into right field. That's tracking, that's deep, and that is going to go off the fence there. As Mason Rosmono is going to relay that in, but 2 runs are going to score here for the Glens Falls Dragons. That was a absolute shot there from Robert Mello. Deflects off the fence. Mason Rosmono fielded that well out there, and he used that strong arm to fire it into the infield, but not before 2 runs score here for the Glens Falls Dragons. So still a runner in scoring position here with Andrew Gabriel stepping up to the plate, and that's fired right down the middle for strike 1. But the bats for Glens Falls take some of that momentum that they had from the last inning against the Stallions and get off to a hot start here against the Lumberjacks. As Drew Turner gets it past him on a nice off-speed pitch for strike 2. Again, Gabriel was well ahead of that ball. So 0-2 count here, 2 outs, still a man on second base. As Glens Falls has really punched the Lumberjacks in the mouth off the bat of Robert Mello, and Drew Turner gets him to look right through that one as he gets out of the inning for the Lumberjacks, stops the bleeding, but not before Robert Mello drives in 2 runs off a double that went off the fence, and the Lumberjacks will have to respond heading into the bottom of the 1st. We'll be back with that. And we are back here with the bottom of the first between the Lumberjacks and the Dragons. The Dragons jumped out to an early lead off a Robert Mello double as RJ Ensel takes the mound for the Dragons. Ensel has been one of the best pitchers in the staff for the Dragons. He currently boasts a 2.63 ERA along with a 1.54 whip, a 1-1 record, and 10 strikeouts on the season as well. His last win was recorded against the Lumberjacks, where he spearheaded their 5-2 win against the Lumberjacks here at Hanson Aggregates Field. But Andy Perez will lead it off here for the Lumberjacks. He has been excellent this year in the leadoff spot for Boonville. Currently boasts a 341 batting average, a 481 on base percentage, and a 634 slugging percentage as well. He has 2 homers, has driven 14 runs, and he has 7 extra base hits on the season as he takes a first pitch strike there. Andy Perez hails from the University of Pittsburgh. He didn't get much playing time last season, but RJ Ensel here with the delivery, and he puts that down and outside for ball 1. So 1-1 count here to Perez. But Perez has especially been good against the Glens Falls Dragons. He has 7 runners batted in against the team this season, including a home run, which he put right over the left field fence in Boonville's lone loss to the Dragons this season, as RJ Ensel with the 2-1 delivery here puts that inside for a second straight ball. So 3-1 count here to Andy Perez, who will make you pay if you give him something that he likes at the plate. Is Ensel here with the hitter's count delivery, and he puts that off speed just on the inside. Had some nice breaking action on that one as it cut toward the inside of the plate. Andy Perez had no choice but to take that one there. So full count here for Andy Perez as he drills that to the third base side. He's unable to corral it out there, and he's going to fire it over to first base. But Andy Perez used that excellent speed to get there in time, as that'll lead things off for the Boonville Lumberjacks, bringing up Angel Santiago in the 2-hole for them. Angel Santiago has been another one of the Lumberjacks' best hitters this season, sporting a 325 batting average, 518 on base percentage, and a 575 slugging percentage. He has 5 extra base hits this season with 2 doubles, 1 triple, and 2 home runs. So with Andy Perez on first base here, he flares that out into center field there, and that is going to drop, and it'll advance Andy Perez. So 2 straight singles for the Lumberjacks as their bats have also gotten off to a quick start against RJ Ensel. Bringing up Chase Triplett in the 3-hole spot. He's been consistently in the lineup in this position, as Jay Gonzalez has quickly realized that some of the most pop in his bat. Chase Triplett is the highest batting average on this team with a 4.52 clip. He also has 2 home runs on the season as he cuts right through that one for strike 1. So 0-1 count to Triplett. Seminole State rising sophomore, coming all the way from Lake Mary, Florida, which is right around Orlando. So he has definitely not been affected by this heat wave out here, as he experiences that every day back home. RJ Ensel here with the delivery, and Chase is able to drill that into the right center gap there. Is that a likely plate 2? And he's in safe to second base. Angel Santiago stays at third base. That was a nice relay out there from Tyree Jackson, but it does drive in 1 run as the Lumberjacks cut into this lead. That was sizzling off the bat of Triplett, as that one carried. It had a low trajectory there, but it really ate up the outfield grass there, as he is able to plate a run for the Lumberjacks. And now the Lumberjacks have runners on second and third base with still 0 outs, as Devin Moran takes a first pitch ball there. So 1-0 count to him. Moran went to St. Cloud Technical last season. He is looking to transfer right now, but he is another player on this roster from Florida. And he has a perfect opportunity to add some more runners to the plate as he dribbles that one off to the side there. That'll be a foul ball, evening the count at 1. But Devin Moran struggled a little bit recently. But despite that, he has been one of the best contact hitters this season for the Lumberjacks. And he's particularly been good against Glens Falls. He has he's gone 5 of 9 this season against them with 2 RBIs and 1 double. He would love to put down another double here. He takes another ball low there, hit the dirt right in front of Ryan Jones behind the plate. But Moran, he boasts a .417 batting average this season. He's able to fire that right up the middle there, as that is going to plate Angel Santiago. Chase Triplett will hold up there at third base, and Devin Moran is going to take second there. Excellent heads-up play from Devin Moran to grab the extra bag. As the Boonville Lumberjacks bats have matched Glens Falls, tying this game at 2 apiece. And that'll bring a mound visit. Randio wanted to talk it over with Enzel, who has already coughed up 4 hits in the bottom half of this inning. He's had 2 straight doubles off the bats of Chase Triplett and Devin Moran. We're able to line those right into the outfield. And runners will still be on second and third base with 0 outs. As the Lumberjacks bats have really come into this contest with a vengeance. They were unable to score a run after the top of the 5th inning last night. They seem to be taking that personal today against the Glens Falls Dragons. So 0-0 count here for Garrett DeHart, who is making one of his first starts in the field today. He takes a first pitch strike there. Typically see Garrett DeHart at the mound, but this is only his 7th at-bat of the season thus far. And with the 0-1 count, he drives that right past the third base line, as that'll just go foul. So he has put himself into a hole with an 0-2 count. Garrett DeHart, he's a rising senior at Franklin College, and last season he had a batting average over 300. We haven't gotten to see much of his bat this season with the Lumberjacks, but there's still a month left for him to showcase what he can do in the batter's box. As Entel with the payoff, as Garrett DeHart is able to sky that, and that is going to fall, and it's going to come down and bring in 2 runs, and the left fielder is unable to corral that there. Garrett DeHart will come in with a stand-up double that brings in 2 runs as the Lumberjacks get their 3rd straight double in this inning off the bat of Garrett DeHart, who really pulled that ball. The left fielder there for Glens Falls had trouble fielding that. It would likely only been a single if he fielded that cleanly, but DeHart takes second bag there. As he drives in 2, and the Lumberjacks are up 4-2 after Glens Falls put up 2 in the first inning. They still have 0 outs as Sebastian Burgos takes a ball there. But Boonville, through their top 5 hitters, they've rattled off 5 straight hits to open this game. And Burgos will look to keep the hitting streak alive here at the plate. With the 1-0 delivery, he fits that right inside there to even the count at 1. But Burgos, Fort Hays State University graduate, another player on this roster from Florida, is a .286 batting average this season thus far. And he also has a home run, which he hit against Glens Falls in the Boonville Lumberjacks 13-0 victory here at Hanson Aggregates Field, as he takes another ball here. So 2-1 count for Burgos. He still has a runner in scoring position as Ansel has been shelled this inning. So he winds and delivers that and puts that just outside. So 2-2 count, or 3-1 count, my apologies, for Sebastian Burgos, who has a hitter's count to work with here. Sebastian Burgos has gone 4 of 10 with a homer, 2 RBIs, and 4 walks against Glens Falls this season. Is Ansel with the delivery here, and he puts that high fastball past him there for strike 2, making the count full. So unable to turn his hands quick enough there to get a handle on that high fastball. Can always be a little risky when a pitcher does that, but that is a common payoff pitch for pitchers, especially if guys really go after those pitches. And he gets him to swing right through that one, as that'll be the first out of the inning for Ansel, able to get that off-speed past Sebastian Burgos there. As Connor Tapati steps up to the plate. This is his first at-bat against Glens Falls this season. He has struggled to really get going. He only has a 111 batting average and a 250 on-base percentage, and just has 3 hits on the season as well. As Ansel with the 0-0 delivery here, and he fits that inside, as that'll be a ball, and it'll get past Ryan Jones, as Garrett DeHart will advance to third here, only 90 feet away from the plate. Lumberjacks up 4-2 after a Robert Mello double drove in 2 runs in the top of the first inning. The Lumberjacks have had 3 straight doubles earlier in this game, as Chase Triplett, Devin Moran, and Garrett DeHart were each able to drive in runs off extra base hits earlier in the contest. So Tapati here with the 1-1 count, as he gets that one to dribble right past the first base line. Didn't make good contact on that ball. So 1-2 count here for Tapati, as he'll need to protect the plate in this situation. Tapati doesn't have many strikeouts on the season. He's done a nice job of putting the ball in play. He'll need to put it in play here against Ansel, as the payoff pitch is in. He just got a piece of that one, was a little late on it, deflects it down the third base line there as he stays alive. And that's the type of contact that you want to see in the fight, that you want to see in the batter's box. Tapati has really embodied that this season for the Lumberjacks, as Ansel still has a payoff pitch to work with here. As he winds and delivers, as Tapati skies that into left center field, as that'll be caught by Tyree Jackson, but it's going to bring home Garrett DeHart on a sacrifice fly, as the Lumberjacks clear the bases and plate another. Score is 5-2 Lumberjacks, as that was exactly what Tapati needed to do in that situation. All he needed was a fly ball to advance Garrett DeHart, and it was deep enough to drive him in. But with the bases cleared now, Akil Nimala will step up to the plate. And Nimala, he started the season as a first baseman, but has really transitioned into more of a first base and designated hitter role for the Lumberjacks, as he fouls back one there, evening the count at 1. But he is, again, one of the highest ranked prospects on this Lumberjacks roster. Went to Florida Tech last year. As Ansel with the 1-1 delivery, as he fits that one right on the inside. Nice change up there from Ansel, as he's able to get ahead in the count. And we'll have a payoff pitch here. Nimala will need to protect. But Nimala, 278 batting average and a 333 slugging percentage, as he whiffs at that one right there. That was a junk pitch from Ansel, as that'll be the final out of the inning for the Glens Falls Dragons, they stop the bleeding, but not before the Lumberjacks tack on 5 runs to take an early lead in this contest. They have control going into the top of the second. We'll be back with Drew Turner at the mound. And we are back here with the top of the second between the Lumberjacks and the Dragons. Both lineups really exploded in the first inning. The Glens Falls Dragons were able to get 2 in the top part of the inning, while the Lumberjacks one up them and slammed RJ Ensel for 5 runs with 3 doubles in the bottom half of the inning. But the Glens Falls lineup, they definitely have been hot today as well, and they will look to respond to what the Boonville Lumberjacks lineup put down in the bottom of the first inning, as that'll bring up Travis Stroh to the plate. Travis Stroh, 161 batting average this season. Hasn't really been able to get it going with his bat as he cuts right through that, evening the count at 1. But Travis Stroh, again, just has a 161 batting average this season, and also just a 161 slugging percentage. He doesn't have a single RBI and has 9 strikeouts on the season thus far, as he is down in the count. 1-2 here as Turner will have a payoff pitch. Winds and delivers and puts that one high there on the inside. So 2-2 count. But if you're Turner here, might want to go to an off-speed pitch. It's been clicking the start of this game as he shakes off what Newland was suggesting. Winds and delivers that and gets it right past him on an off-speed there. Went back to it and got Travis Stroh walking back to the dugout on that one, as that was a nasty off-speed. Got him out well ahead of it. And that'll be the first out of the inning for the Lumberjacks. As a Ryan Jones, the catcher, will step up to the plate here in the 8-hole spot for the Glens Falls Dragons. Ryan Jones, he's gone 2 of 4 with 1 walk this season against the Lumberjacks as he takes a first pitch strike there right on the outside of the plate. So he has done some damage to this Lumberjacks pitching staff as he puts that one right in the middle of the infield. Angel Santiago fields that and flips it right over to Akil Nimala there for the second out of the inning, as Turner making quick work here, and he already has 2 outs. As Michael Sweeney will step up to the plate for Glens Falls. On the season, he's gone 1 of 7 with 2 walks against the Boonville Lumberjacks pitching staff. Turner here with the delivery, puts that one right past Sweeney. So 0-1 count to open it up, as he skies that into the outfield, and that is going to drop there. Devin Moran is able to cut that off before it gets into the gap, as that'll keep Sweeney at first base, but he keeps the inning alive for Glens Falls, as the top of the order steps up here for Glens Falls with Tyree Jackson at the plate. Tyree was hit by a pitch in the first inning. Was able to get on base to lead things off for the Dragons as he takes a first pitch ball low there. Tyler Jackson, he has been one of the newer additions for this Glens Falls roster. He has only made his first start about halfway through the month of June as Newland fires that back to first, but not in time as Sweeney gets back standing to the base. So 2-0 count, as that was a ball from Drew Turner. He'll need to do some work here to get ahead on Tyree Jackson, who again in that leadoff spot has excellent contact hitting ability. As Turner winds and delivers that and fits it right on the inside on a nice off-speed pitch. Tyree Jackson initially thought that that was a surefire ball, but it cut right back into the inside of the plate, as that'll be the first strike of the at-bat here. So Turner here with the 2-1 count. He takes a minute. He delivers that right on the inside of the plate. Went right back to that same off-speed pitch and got it to bite Jackson there for the second straight time. He'll likely try and speed him up here on a fastball. Position it right on the outside of the plate. As Sweeney's going to take that back there. Drew Turner had no idea that he was going, and that gets fired right into the outfield. Nice stolen bag there from Sweeney as he completely deceived Turner at the mound there, and he will get into scoring position here for the Glens Falls Dragons, as he only realized that Sweeney was stealing until he was almost at the bag. What a deceptive play there from Sweeney, using that speed to his advantage. But Turner with the payoff as Tyler Jackson flares that right to Angel Santiago, who flips it over to the third baseman there. And that is going to hit Michael Sweeney, and he's going to be safe there at third. Unclear why Angel Santiago didn't try and get that to first base. Tyree Jackson does have a lot of speed going there. But in that situation, you don't want to go for the tag play. Typically want to get the force out. And Angel Santiago thought otherwise, and that is going to allow the Dragons to stay alive in this inning. As Tyler Figueroa, the two-hole hitter, steps up to the plate. He takes a first pitch ball there. But the Lumberjacks have had some mental errors in the middle of the infield. Earlier this season, Miguel Gonzalez didn't realize that it was only one out, and when trying to flip a double play, he didn't throw the relay over to first base, and we see another mental mistake in the middle of the infield there from Angel Santiago. But still, the Lumberjacks have 2 outs with Tyler Figueroa at the plate, who advanced on a fielder's choice in his last at-bat. It's Turner with the delivery here, and he fits that right down the plate on a nice off-speed pitch. That off-speed has been unhittable here for Turner as he works his way back into the count. So the 2-1 delivery here, men on the corners. Gets him to top that one out, and it's right to Andy Perez, who fires it over to second base for the force out, and that'll mark the end of the inning here for the Lumberjacks, who get out of it unscathed. They remain up 5-2 heading into the bottom of the second, where the lineup will look to continue what they started. We'll be back with that. And we are back here with the bottom of the second between the Boonville Lumberjacks and the Glens Falls Dragons. The Lumberjacks maintain their 5-2 lead after Drew Turner spun a scoreless top of the second inning. And that'll bring up Jacob Newland in the 9-hole spot for Boonville. Boonville had 8 out batters step up to the plate last inning as Enzel fires that low there for ball 1. As Jacob Newland has been one of the most disciplined players at the plate for the Lumberjacks. He has a .531 on-base percentage this season, which is largely due to his 10 walks on the season. He does not take any pitches that he doesn't love, and that is a recipe for success at the plate, as he's already ahead in this count, 2-0. Ryan Enzel with the delivery there as he fits it right there for strike 1. A nice off-speed pitch. Again, both of these pitchers boast very strong off-speed arsenals. As Enzel winds and delivers here, as Newland fires that into opposite field, but that'll go foul, as that'll even the count at 2. But he corked that ball up right there. Just didn't get enough of it to put it in fair territory, as Enzel has a payoff pitch here. He had 2 strikeouts last inning, but did allow those 5 straight hits, as that one is just low there. Great take from Newland as he makes the count full. But Newland is at East Texas Baptist University, which is the same school that Matthew Irwin, the starting pitcher, goes to, as Enzel winds and delivers that hit Jacob Newland there, as that is going to put him on first here to open up the inning. As Mason Resmondo steps up to the plate to round out the Lumberjacks order. Mason Resmondo didn't record a hit for his first 6 games as a Lumberjack, but he has been on a roll recently. He has a .240 batting average, a .367 on-base percentage with 5 RBIs, and he's just struck out 2 times. So every time he's at the plate, you can expect a quality plate appearance from the outfielder. Enzel fires that back to first base to keep Jacob Newland in check. Tries to set the tone with Newland on the bag early. Doesn't want him straying too far away from the first base bag. It's Enzel with the 0-0 count as he puts that one just low and outside. Good take there from Resmondo. Resmondo, another player from Seminole State University on this roster. He's good friends with Chase Triplett. They're actually roommates at one of the hotels here in Boonville. So Enzel winds and delivers that, and he puts it right past Resmondo on an outside off-speed pitch. You can see how Resmondo kind of let the bat go there. That demonstrates that he was well ahead of that ball. Didn't see it correctly off Enzel's arm, as he's in with a 1-1 delivery, and that one's just inside there for ball 2. But Enzel has already gotten into a little bit of trouble this inning. 0 outs, and he already has a man on first base, as he nearly got Resmondo to pull his hands on that one, but he caught a swing there, and that'll be the 3rd ball of the at-bat. So hitters count here for Resmondo at the plate. And still Jacob Newland on first. As Enzel, the hitters count delivery, as he puts that one outside, as he walks a second straight batter. As the top of the order will come up here for the Boonville Lumberjacks with men on first and second base. Andy Perez, who had a single in his first at-bat of the night, will look to do some more damage here, as all of the Lumberjacks players except for 3 have reached first base in the lineup. As Andy Perez checks through that one, and that is flared to the first baseman, who waits for Perez there, and he'll go into a little bit of a rundown here, trying to do some deception to get Jacob Newland potentially home, as he goes all the way back to home as he's trying to juke him out there. Biller just stands there It's a funny little play there from Perez, who's just simply wasting time. You don't see that every day here. But Andy Perez trying to use his football skills and agility there to juke Biller out, but to no avail. Cameron Biller just stood there looking slightly annoyed right in front of the home plate, and he just simply tagged him there. Andy Perez would have likely been out of the base path anyway. But Andy Perez using some trickery and having some fun there, as that'll advance both Mason Rismondo and Jacob Newland to second and third base respectively. As that'll bring up Angel Santiago to the plate, who takes a first pitch ball there. So 1-0 count to him. He had a single in his last at bat. And he had a run earlier in the contest as well. He was driven to the plate by Devin Moran's double as he takes a second straight ball there. Angel Santiago recently had 4 walks in his last game against Glens Falls. He had 5 at-bats in that game, or 5 plate appearances, and got walked 4 times. He was put out once. But again, these Lumberjacks have been much more disciplined at the plate as the season has gone on. As Angel Santiago flares that right past the third base line. Topped that one out. Didn't make the best contact with it. As he'll live to fight another day, and will look to tee up a better pitch from Enzel. But it's the top of the order for the Lumberjacks that really struck RJ Enzel in the bottom of the first inning. And they'll look to do the same here. Angel Santiago is the 2-hole hitter. He's out ahead on that one, and that one is flared to the shortstop there, who fires it over to first base, but not before Jacob Newland advances home to bring the score to 6-2 in favor of the Lumberjacks. And they'll also advance Mason Rismondo to third base as well, only 90 feet away from home for him. Is Chase Triplett, who had a double into the right field gap in his first at-bat, will step up to the plate. Hit 1 RBI with that, and that is going to be low and inside there for ball 1. Again, Chase Triplett also has one of the highest slugging percentages on this Boonville Lumberjacks team. 774 slugging percentage for him. He has been at an absolute double and home run machine this season. And RJ Enzel delivers that right on the outside of the plate, clips the zone for strike 1 there. But the Lumberjacks do have 2 outs in this inning. And Chase Triplett will look to extend it here as Enzel winds and delivers that and puts that low there again in the dirt. So 2-1 for Triplett. And Triplett has really made an impact in the lineup, especially with his pull power ability. Most of his extra base hits have been pulled over to that right center gap, as that one is just on the outside of the zone there for the second consecutive time, as that evens the count 2-2. But again, Chase Triplett has his roommate on third base and will look to send him home for the Lumberjacks' 7th run. This is RJ Enzel here with the payoff delivery. As Triplett fends off that one, or lays off of it. So that'll bring the count to full. So 3-2 count for Triplett. Man on third base. 2 outs and a full count. RJ Enzel will look to end the inning. He winds and delivers. As Triplett nails that right into the outfield there. Pulled that ball really well, and it's hard to field it when it's coming at you with such high velocity. Again, Triplett uses that extraordinary pull power ability to flare that into right field as he gets another RBI and has his 2nd hit of the evening. As the Lumberjacks go up 7-2 here. As that'll be a first pitch strike there on Devin Moran. But Devin Moran, he had a double 2 RBI double in his first at-bat. As he cuts that one and deflects it foul. So quick 0-2 count here on Moran. Ansel has surrendered 7 runs, and he hasn't even gotten through 2 innings pitched thus far. This has been a rough start for him thus far. He really has been excellent this season in the Dragons staff. Season with the payoff delivery, and Devin Moran is able to bloop that into the outfield there, and that is likely going to land right in front of the right fielder, as that'll advance Chase Triplett to the third base bag on another hit from Devin Moran, who has also gone 2 of 2.
Now at bat number 19, Garrett DeHart.
As Garrett DeHart steps up to the plate, he also had a RBI double in his first at-bat of the night. And he'll look to get the Lumberjacks' 3rd straight hit this inning. As Ansel has again worked himself into a bases corner, or men on the corners jam. Garrett DeHart, he got his first hit of the season in his last at-bat. As RJ Ansel with the 0-0 delivery, and he gets that right past DeHart on a fastball. Looking to really use his power to get through that one. Swung for the fences there, but he doesn't land, as Ansel got it past him. So 0-1 count here for Ansel, and he fires that back to first base. The tag is applied, but not in time on Moran, who's able to fly safely back into first base. So 0-1 here for DeHart. He's another player from the South, from Smyrna, Georgia. As Ansel with the delivery, Devin Moran attempts to steal that bag, and there will be no relay there as he gets into scoring position. So with men on first and second base now, Garrett DeHart has a prime opportunity to drive in both of them here. So with the 1-1 delivery, puts that one just inside for the second straight ball here in the count. Ansel has just struggled to put batters away tonight. The Lumberjacks have done a very nice job of protecting the plate and have really been hitting Ansel from all areas of the zone. It's been impossible for him to find a sweet spot that he can rely on, as that one is going to be called inside. Looked a little bit out of the zone from here, but that'll even the count at 2. Nice frame from the catcher there to deceive the umpire's eye, as Ansel will have another payoff pitch. Will the Lumberjacks get another 2-strike hit off the bats of Garrett DeHart, as he skies that one into left field, but that is going to land into the mid of Travis Stroh for the 3rd out of the inning, but not before the Lumberjacks tack on 2 more runs to punctuate the bottom of the 2nd. Drew Turner will step out to the mound for the top of the 3rd inning. We'll be back with that. And we're back here with the top of the 3rd between the Lumberjacks and the Dragons, as the middle of the order will step up for the Dragons here, with Joe Carpiers leading it off for in the top of the 3rd here for Glens Falls. He struck out swinging in his first at-bat of the night. I'll have a different outcome here And again, Carpiers was the man that drove in that 2-run blast to put Glens Falls on top of Socrates, allowed them to get their 8th win of the season. He flares that one to the right side of the infield there. Keelan Niemola is unable to corral that cleanly, but he does fire it over just in time to Drew Turner, who covers the bag there, as that'll mark the first out of the inning here for the Lumberjacks.
Cameron Biller.
As Cameron Biller will step up to the plate here. He walked in his first at bat of the night. And Biller is a sophomore at Mount St. Mary's. He's coming all the way from Stafford, Virginia, as well as Turner winds and delivers that and puts it just inside. Looked like it cut in a little bit, but just missed the zone there. That breaking slider has really been lethal, as the Glens Falls lineup has been unable to diagnose it, as that one just gets high on a fastball there. So second consecutive ball here for Turner. As Turner winds and delivers this, as that one is put right in front of Angel Santiago there, who fields it cleanly and tosses it over to Niemola at first base for the second out, as Turner has 2 outs in just 4 pitches in this inning. He's been efficient on the mound ever since he struggled in the top of the first. Gets another out there, as the Lumberjacks field does him some favors, and Robert Mello steps up to the plate again, as he had a double in the top of the first, and that one gets past him there. Swung right through that one. So a 1 count to him as he skies that into the outfield, and that'll not be far enough, as Turner able to get out of the inning in just 6 pitches, makes efficient work of this Glens Falls lineup, as we will be back with the Lumberjacks lineup, who looks to add onto their lead. We are back here with the bottom of the 3rd inning of action between the Lumberjacks and the Dragons, as the Glens Falls Dragons will rely on another arm going to their bullpen early in this game. RJ Enzel only able to get through 2 innings in this contest. He was able to get through 4 last game against the Lumberjacks, where he really spearheaded that 5-2 victory. He allowed just 1 earned run, but has allowed 7 earned runs in this game. But Colin McMahon will be on the mound for the foreseeable future. He has a 1.17 ERA, 0.65 whip, and just over 7 innings pitched with 5 strikeouts. He has done a great job of getting opposing lineups to ground out and fly out this month. He has been likely the Glens Falls Dragons' most reliable arm out of the bullpen. Glens Falls has seriously struggled with their pitching staff, as they have a 6.20 team ERA, which is the 5th highest in the league, and they also have the 4th highest whip at 183, but he delivers a first pitch strike there against Burgos. As Burgos struck out in his first at-bat of the night. McMahon delivers that high there for ball 1, evening it at 1. But McMahon is a sophomore at Hamilton College, which is another college in this beautiful state of New York. He really struggled during his first season there. 12.51 ERA in just over 13 innings pitched. He also had 19 earned runs through just 6 appearances last season. But he has really recovered and worked on his pitching heading into the PGCBL season. But he does get behind in the count here. It's already a 3-1 count for Burgos. Again, Burgos was able to get a hold of a pitch against Glens Falls and drive it right over that left field fence. He'll have the green light to give a hack here. So McMahon winds and delivers that, and that gets low there for his 4th consecutive ball, as that'll walk Sebastian Burgos to first, and it'll bring up Connor Tapati to the plate, who had a RBI sac fly in his last at-bat. But Tapati goes to Mount Olive, which is the college that Jay Gonzalez attended, who's the head coach of the Lumberjacks. Jeremiah McLemore, another Mount Olive player on this Lumberjacks roster. You can see that Boonville took a lot of players from similar schools, and that has really contributed to their good chemistry early in this season, as they've been able to get off to a hot start, already rattling off 11 wins this season, which is one more than they had the entirety of last season, and they have been excellent at home. They currently boast a 7-2 home record this season, but also hold a 4-6 away record, so they've really struggled traveling to opposing stadiums. And that is something that you really have to hash out before the postseason, because the Lumberjacks currently sit at 3rd in the East Division and will most certainly need to travel in the playoffs. And you'll need to win on the road in order to capture that PGCBL title. But the Lumberjacks have really put themselves in good position early on in this season. As Tapati has a 1-1 count here against McMahon. As he winds and delivers here, puts that just outside of the zone for ball 2. But the Lumberjacks, it's seemingly night and day with this team. Their lineup has been shut out twice so far this season in separate games. But they've also been able to muster 17 runs in a game, as that one gets flared into left center field. Tapati goes opposite field with that one. That'll advance Sebastian Burgos to second base, as Connor Tapati is into first with a single. As Akil Nimala steps up to the plate. He had a strikeout in his first at-bat, swung through an off-speed that went right into the dirt and was way outside of the zone. He'll look to have a different outcome here. And speaking of inconsistency, Nimala has been one of the most inconsistent players on this roster, but definitely has some of the most upside on this team. He has the physical build to really stamp his impact on the game, as that one hit him right there, and he will advance to first. Loading the bases here, as McMahon has struggled and has worked himself into a jam.
Number 12, Jacob Newland.
As Jacob Newland will step up to the plate. He hails all the way from Diana, Texas. He's currently the number 59th ranked catcher in the state. In Texas, obviously one of the highest ranked states for baseball, along with Florida. Earlier this season, the Lumberjacks had Blaine Line and Houston Tomlinson, who both attended Texas A&M during their freshman seasons. They have left the team. That was a couple weeks back. Newland cuts right through that one. But it seemingly left the Lumberjacks with a gaping hole in their pitching staff. They've added some guys to that. Quinn Oliver has recently joined. Max Martsolf has recently joined as well. Martsolf currently has not allowed a run in 5 innings pitched. So they have addressed the hole that both of those guys left. But they were really dominant. Tomlinson recorded an 8-inning performance where he didn't allow a single run. As McMahon delivers that off-speed right down the plate, broke into the zone there. As Jacob Newland hesitated and was unable to pull his hands on that one. But the bases are still loaded with 0 outs here for Newland, who's hit by a pitch in his first at-bat. So the Lumberjacks have really turned the narrative today, as they walked a ton of guys onto base. Last game, they flipped the script, and now they are the ones that are really walking on to bases. I mean, they already have 2 hit by pitches in this contest already, and they've also recorded a good share of walks as well. So really honing in on that plate discipline has been super key for this Lumberjacks roster. They did struggle with strikeouts at time earlier in the season, but moving forward, Jay Gonzalez has seemed to establish some plate discipline in this team. I know that was something that he talked about after a fair share of losses, as McMahon delivers that just high to even the count at 2. But plate discipline can really separate you as a baseball team. You have a ton of power hitters in your lineup. That can only do you so much, because plate discipline is what really gets you on base, and situational hitting follows, as McMahon delivers that low there for ball 3, as Newland has been able to work this count to full. And if he gets walked here, he will get an RBI, driving in the Lumberjacks' 8th run of the contest. And it seems like the Lumberjacks have something to prove in this game, as they haven't been taking anything for granted in this contest, as McMahon delivers that. And he gets rung up there for strike 3 on a fastball from McMahon, as that one gets past Jacob Newland. It'll be the first out of the inning here for Glens Falls, as Mason Resmondo steps up to the plate. He walked in his first at-bat of the night. Lumberjacks could use another one of those right about now. And the Lumberjacks do have a grand slam this season, as Andy Perez was the one that launched that in the left field in the Lumberjacks' 13-0 win against Glens Falls. But Resmondo takes a first pitch strike looking there, as it caught the inside of the zone. And it would be incredible if McMahon was able to work out of this jam. Glens Falls has been one of the most fiery teams in the PGCBL. Their record may not show it, but they have the ability to get things clicking at any given moment. It's very similar to how the Lumberjacks have been constructed. Glens Falls has orchestrated some meaningful comebacks so far this season, and so have the Lumberjacks. It appears to be mano-a-mano. And the Lumberjacks can certainly not add enough insurance runs against this team, as Mason Resmondo fouls that one off, getting the count to 1-2. But the Lumberjacks lineup, they have the most home runs in the PGCBL with 11. And they also have the second best slugging percentage in the league at a .380 clip. So they have really been an entertaining team to watch at the plate this season. And a lot of that has to do with the ballpark that they play in, as the dimensions of it are favorable for hitters. And Mason Resmondo is able to foul that to the first baseman, who fires it over to second base, but that'll not result in a play at first, and it'll bring in another run for the Lumberjacks.
Number 5, Andy Perez.
As That'll bring the score to 8-2 here. And runners will be on the corners with 2 outs for Andy Perez. That'll be the top of the order coming up here for the Lumberjacks. But what a great play there from Rismondo, who's able to hustle to first base. And that one gets past the catcher there on a wild pitch, and there will be a play at home there, but Connor Tapati's able to slide in. And that'll be the Lumberjacks' 9th run of the contest. And he walked back to the dugout after a near collision with the pitcher there. That one could have been scary for McMahon. So now there's just a runner on first. Andy Perez has a 1-0 count here to work with. But the Lumberjacks tack on 2 more in this inning. As McMahon winds it, delivers there and puts it right down the pipe for strike 1 in the count. So 1-1 count to Andy Perez. With Rismondo on second base. As Andy Perez is able to line that to the shortstop there, and he's able to fire it into first base in time for the 3rd out of the inning. That was very well fielded by Michael Sweeney out there, as that'll mark the end of the inning for the Lumberjacks, but not before they add 2 more runs to their lead, going up 9-2 as we head into the top of the 4th. Drew Turner will look to lock things down. We'll be back with that. And we are back here with the top of the 4th between the Lumberjacks and the Glens Falls Dragons. Lumberjacks lineup has really stamped their impact on this game, as they already have mustered up 9 runs along with 8 hits. Everyone in their lineup has been either hitting or getting on base for this squad. Andrew Gabriel will step up to the plate here in the top of the 4th to open the inning. He cuts right through a first pitch there for strike 1. Turner was able to make very efficient work of this Dragons lineup last inning with just 6 pitches being thrown, as he gets that one past Andrew Gabriel yet again for strike 2. Andrew Gabriel certainly been a dynamic option for this Glens Falls lineup. He has a .368 batting average, .429 on base percentage, and a .579 slugging percentage, but he cuts through that one there on an off speed. Jacob Newland will need to run and throw that over the first base, and that is not going to be in time, as he's able to reach on an error there. So wasted opportunity there from Newland, who is unable to get a hold of that ball. Didn't know where it was. So that would have been a key for us out to get. And that one gets past Jacob Newland again. And that'll advance Andrew Gabriel to second base. So the Glens Falls Dragons have runners in scoring position to open this inning. And it likely shouldn't have even happened, because Andrew Gabriel whiffed through an off-speed pitch that was a junk throw from Turner. But Newland was unable to get a hold of it and fire it over to Niemela in time as he gets that one past Stroh for the first strike of the at-bat. So 1-1 count here for Stroh. Stroh, he's gone 0 of 10 this season against the Lumberjacks, so he's really struggled particularly against Boonville as he takes a second strike right down the pipe there. Need to protect the plate here. Stroh had a strikeout in his first at-bat. He'll look to prohibit the same outcome from occurring. It's Turner here with the payoff, as that one nearly clipped the zone on an off-speed pitch that was biting toward the inside, and that is not going to be called strike 3, so Stroh lives to fight another day at the plate. He's a sophomore at FDU. It's Turner with the payoff. Stroh fires that into opposite field. Niemela is able to corral that and fires it over to Drew Turner. Is able to get onto first just in time for the out. Great play from Akil Niemela out there. It was a tough play as that one was gaining speed going into the right side of the infield. And Niemela able to get his glove out there and fires it over just in time to Turner, who's sprinting from the mound over to first base. But Andrew Gabriel will also advance, as he will be 90 feet away from home with Ryan Jones stepping up to the plate. That'll be a ball there to open the count. But Ryan Jones, he's a Canisius University sophomore, hails from Littletown, Pennsylvania. Turner is also from Downington, Pennsylvania, so we have a little bit of a Pennsylvania matchup here between the pitcher and the hitter. It's Turner able to even it at 1 there, as that'll be high and inside for ball 2 in the count. Turner seems to be gaining some momentum as this game has gone on. Obviously had that very efficient top of the third showing, especially after he allowed 2 runs off the bat of Robert Mello in the top of the first. He's settled in nicely on the mound. So he winds and delivers that and puts it just outside for ball 3. So 3-1 count to Jones at the plate. Again, Ryan Jones, he's rattled off 2 hits in just 4 at-bats against the Lumberjacks this season. He has a .235 batting average, as that'll be a strike there, making it full. So 3-2 count, 1 out. Man on third here. Turner will look to punch another guy out, as that one clips the zone there for strike 3. Throws Ryan Jones at the plate, and that'll be the second out of the inning. Turner gets a pivotal out here. As that'll bring up Michael Sweeney, the 9-hole hitter for the Dragons. So he winds and delivers that, and that is just inside. Michael Sweeney he wanted to bunt that ball down there to potentially advance Andrew Gabriel to the plate. But it'll be ball 1, as Gabriel remains on third. So Turner winds and delivers and puts that off speed right on the inside of the zone. So 1-1 count on Sweeney, who had a single, flared it into opposite field in his last at-bat. And he cuts right through that pitch. That had some break to it there. Got a piece of it, but it foul-tipped into the mitts of Jacob Newland. So 1-2 count here for Turner. And he's able to get it past Sweeney there to mark the end of the inning. Turner is able to get through another, and the Lumberjacks maintain their 9-2 lead heading into the bottom of the fourth. We'll be back with that.
Now, word from some of our sponsors.
And we are back here with the bottom of the fourth between the Lumberjacks and the Dragons. As Colin McMahon stays on the mound here for Glens Falls. He allowed 2 runs in the last inning as the Boonville Lumberjacks have been able to score at least 2 runs through the bottom of the first 3 innings. They'll look to maintain this level of dominance at the plate with Angel Santiago stepping up. Angel Santiago had a single in the bottom of the first, and then he grounded out to the shortstop, but also drove in a run in the bottom of the second. As McMahon winds and delivers that, and that is right down the middle of the zone there for strike 1. So 0-1 count for Santiago. His nickname is Yuki. That's what a lot of the players like to call him in the dugout. So McMahon delivers that just high there, evening at 1. Santiago again has been very patient at the plate. He had those 4 walks in his last performance against Glens Falls. As that off speed is just a little high there, and that'll be the second ball of the at-bat. Santiago able to get ahead, and again we are seeing that plate discipline that Santiago commands. That was just off the zone. So McMahon winds and delivers here. Santiago was able to flare that down the third base line, but that is going to be called foul. So second strike here for Santiago. He's had some strikeouts where he's been caught looking at the plate and isn't the most aggressive in that category. But again, those 11 walks say otherwise. He's really been able to work out of some holes that he's gotten into. He'd like to do the same in this at-bat as McMahon winds and delivers, and that is just outside the plate. Santiago again able to work it to full. McMahon had 2 walks in his last inning pitched, so not off to a great start in that category, but with the payoff, he gets him to swing through that one for a strikeout, as that one was well inside on Santiago, but he couldn't hold his hands back there as he check swung there, and that is going to be the first out of the inning as Chase Triplett will step up to the plate. Triplett has recorded 2 hits and 2 RBIs in his last 2 at-bats. He had a double in the bottom of the first and a single in the bottom of the second as he takes a first pitch strike there. Looked like he wasn't even going to try and swing. Had a laxed stance in the batter's box on that one. So 0-1 count to Triplett. No men on as he winds and delivers, and that is an off-speed pitch that breaks low. So 1-1 count for Chase Triplett. Chase Triplett, he also pitches, but hasn't pitched in a very long time for the Lumberjacks, and he flares that foul. He recorded 3 complete innings pitched in the Lumberjacks' first 4 games. And he would be a valuable southpaw arm in this bullpen as of now, but Jay Gonzalez has not returned to him. And in those innings, Chase Triplett did not allow a single run as well. So it's a little puzzling why Gonzalez isn't opting to return to Chase Triplett as we've gone further into the season, as he takes a ball the outside there, evening the count at 2. But it's so important to have utility guys, especially in the PGCBL, when depth becomes such an issue once guys leave for other leagues later in June. As he gets a hold of that pitch, and that is going to be his 3rd hit of the contest. Chase Triplett again pulls that pitch, using that power to drive it into the outfield as he advances to first base. So Triplett has gone 3 of 3 tonight, upping that average as we speak. As the cleanup hitter in Devin Moran, who has also had a night for the Lumberjacks. He had a 2 RBI double in the bottom of the first, and then followed that up with a single in the bottom of the second. He takes a first pitch inside there for ball 1. But this duo of Triplett and Moran has really spearheaded this Lumberjacks lineup. As fires that back to first base. Chase Triplett slides safely there. It's really been the 3-hole and cleanup spots for the Lumberjacks that have done the most damage. Jeremiah McLemore, who typically occupies that cleanup spot, has really gotten going as the season has gone on. He struggled with strikeouts after he had surgery between the PGCBL season and the end of his college season. But he has really stamped his impact on this lineup and has displayed some pop in his bat as Demeran is able to fire that down the third base line, but it's just foul. Nearly nicked the third base bag there as Glens Falls gets lucky with that one. But Devin Moran had the right idea there. He sent a powerful ground ball right into that third base gap between the third base and the third baseman, and that would have likely been at least a double given Moran's speed. We saw that in the bottom of the first inning when he really gutted out that double, had some heads-up base running there, and was able to make what should have been a single into a double given his speed. He, again, had 32 stolen bases last collegiate season. That one is dribbled to the shortstop, who fires it over to first base, but not... and he doesn't get Chase Triplett out there for a fielder's choice. Is he able to advance into scoring position on that one? So Garrett DeHart will have a man at second base and will likely just need to lay down a single to advance Triplett to home for the Lumberjacks' 10th run of the evening. As Garrett DeHart steps up to the plate. He had a double in the bottom of the first and then flew out in the bottom of the second as McMahon winds and delivers that and puts it right in the zone for strike 1. So 0-1 count to DeHart. McMahon has looked a lot more composed at the mound in this inning. He did allow that hit to Chase Triplett, but he has a perfect opportunity to get out of this inning with DeHart at the plate as he winds and delivers that and put that low and outside. So 1-1 count here against DeHart. DeHart, he also has a 90-mile-per-hour fastball. That's his top velocity. So he can really fire it as that one is fired back. Foul. So 1-2 count, and DeHart will need to protect the plate. But it seems like the Lumberjacks have gotten most of their production in 2 strike situations tonight. His pitchers have really gotten eager to punch these batters out, but has ended up with a ton of hits, as the Lumberjacks have been able to muster 9 already tonight, and we aren't even done with the bottom of the 4th. So McMahon with the payoff delivery as DeHart skies that foul there. So 2 straight foul balls there from DeHart as he's able to stay alive in the count. But what we're getting to see with this Lumberjacks lineup is that they're really putting down quality at-bats against teams. Again, that is what Jay Gonzalez and Howie Krause have been preaching throughout this season. And they're finally starting to click. And McMahon with the payoff delivery, is that off-speed is just a little bit high there for ball 2. DeHart wisely lays off of that one. The Smyrna Georgia local was actually more of a hitter in college than a pitcher. He only had 1 inning pitched the last collegiate season. It was an all HCAC selection in his conference, as he flares that one back for a 3rd straight foul ball here. So Garrett DeHart really fighting against McMahon, is looking to tire him out a little bit here. And as you see that pitch count climbing in at bat, the hitter gets such an advantage just because a pitcher can get antsy while a batter has all the time in the world to tee up a quality pitch. As McMahon winds and delivers that and puts that high there for a ball. So DeHart works the count to full. He's been seeing McMahon's pitches very well in the batter's box in this at-bat, and it is only a matter of time that he puts one into play. Just hasn't been able to time one up perfectly, but his eye has most certainly been on it. And that is a fundamental thing that you need as a hitter, is a good eye. As McMahon winds and delivers here, as DeHart fires that over to the 3rd baseman there, and he gets it right over to first base for the 3rd out of the inning, as McMahon is able to retire Garrett DeHart, and that'll mark the end of the 4th inning, with the Glens Falls lineup coming up next. Drew Turner returns to the mound. We'll be back with that. And we are back here with the top of the 5th between the Lumberjacks and Dragons. Drew Turner will come out to the mound and will look to get through his 5th inning as the starting pitcher for the Lumberjacks. He's put down another quality start. It was looking rough out there for Turner in the top of the 1st, but again, he has settled in nicely, has pitched 3 straight scoreless innings heading into the top of the 5th. But the Glens Falls Dragons have the top of their order coming up in Tyree Jackson. He singled in his last at-bat as Turner puts that one just outside there. Jackson also is hit by a pitch in the top of the 1st inning as he takes a 2nd straight ball there high. Turner opted to go back to his fastball on that one, but he sailed that one a bit with the 2-0 delivery here. Jackson skies that foul. But Tyree Jackson, he's gone 0 of 3 against the Lumberjacks this season as he takes a ball there, as that'll make it a hitter's count for Jackson to use at his disposal, as he boasts a turquoise colored bat. That is a cool design there for Tyree Jackson. Haven't seen that one yet this season as Turner delivers that pass. Jackson on an off speed. You can see how he wasn't expecting that given how in front of that pitch he was. As that'll make the count full. Turner will look to punch out Jackson. As he winds and delivers. As Jackson puts that into play right in the mitt of Andy Perez and fires it over to Keel Niemela there at first base for the first out of the inning.
Now at bat number 17.
As Tyler Figueroa will step up to the plate. Tyler Figueroa had a fielder's choice in the top of the first inning, which got him on base, and then he also a fielder's choice in the top of the second, but it was to end the inning. As the Glens Falls Dragons lineup has really sputtered since the top of the first. They were able to get 2 of their 3 hits in that inning. Their only hit since then has been off the bat of Michael Sweeney in the 9-hole. He's able to get a single in the top of the second. And he gets that one past Figueroa as he's down in the count 0-2. But Figueroa opting to be aggressive here at the plate. Has swung through 2 pitches, and he takes that one right inside there for ball 1 in the count. But again, Figueroa, he's a junior at Appalachian State, Colony, New York local, as he takes another ball inside and low there from Turner, who tried to go to 2 off-speed pitches there, but they don't land in the zone for him. May try and speed him up here to punch him out. And that one is just high there, nearly clipped the strike zone. But Figueroa able to take 3 straight balls to work the count to full. And again, Glens Falls being disciplined at the plate. And Turner here with the payoff. As he grounds that right up the middle of the infield, and Sebastian Burgos unable to field that and nail it over to Niemela at first, as there will be no play there. And that'll put Figueroa on first. That was going to be a hard play for Sebastian Burgos, who's going to have to make an off-balance throw there. His entire body was moving toward the left side of the infield, whereas he would have to make a throw all the way across his body over to Niemela at first base, and Figueroa comes in with an infield single there. As that'll bring up Joe Cartbeers to the plate. He struck out in the top of the first and then grounded out to the first baseman in the top of the third as he cuts right through an off-speed pitch to open the at-bat. So 0-1 count here for Cartbeers. As that one clips the inside of the zone for strike 2. As Turner has worked himself into a favorable payoff position here. And Cartbeers taking over the 3-hole spot for Aiden Gallagher tonight, who has been the traditional option at the 3-hole for the Glens Falls Dragons. That one nearly clips the outside of the zone there, but the umpire does not call it, as that'll be ball 1 in the count. So Joe Cartbeers is able to survive another day. So he'll have a 1-2 count with Turner on the mound as he winds for a payoff. As he puts that right on the inside of the zone there for strike 3. Gets it past Cartbeers for the second time tonight, as that'll be the second out of the inning for Turner. And it'll bring up Cameron Biller to the plate. So 2 outs for the Lumberjacks. Man still on first base in Tyler Figueroa. Cameron Biller in the batter's box. He also has a light blue bat. These Glens Falls Dragons have some unique designs to their bats. They're pretty cool to see. Haven't gotten to see many different colored bats this season, as most of the Boonville Lumberjacks guys just have traditional colored bats, either tan, black, or brown. So 0-1 count here for Turner as Cameron Biller is able to sky that, and that ball is tracking but is not going to reach the warning track as Chase Triplett is able to get under that for the third out of the inning. Turner gets through another and maintains the Lumberjacks 9-2 score. We'll be back with the bottom of the fifth after we take a quick break.
Now, word from some of our sponsors. Stallions Food Mart is your one-stop shop. Whether you're filling up your vehicle, premium Citgo gasoline, or craving our locally famous pizzas or subs. Sliders promises fast, friendly customer service.
We are back here with the bottom of the fifth between the Boonville Lumberjacks and the Glens Falls Dragons, as Gabe Gifford now comes in to relieve Colin McMahon, who got through 2 innings, similar to how RJ Ensel got through the first 2 innings for the Glens Falls Dragons. But Gabe Gifford, he's a sophomore at the University of Maine, Old Town, Maine local. He's the number 3rd ranked southpaw pitcher in the state of Maine and number 10th overall for his class. He had a 10.22 season ERA at Maine during his first year there. He's a 84 mile per hour fastball along with a mid-70s slider and changeup. So he has 3 pitches in his arsenal. Those are his off-speed that he really looks to get hitters out in front of. And he'll face Sebastian Burgos to open up his night. Sebastian Burgos had a strikeout in the bottom of the first and then walked in the bottom of the third. And Gabe Gifford, he has also struggled this season. He has a 1950 ERA, 3.17 whip in just 6 innings pitched. But he does have 10 strikeouts. That's where he's seen the most of his production, but has struggled with the run production. And he put someone low there for a second consecutive ball to open up his night. But the Boonville Lumberjacks, who have a mostly right-handed hitting lineup outside of Connor Tapati and Chase Triplett tonight, will look to take advantage of a southpaw on the mound. That is a favorable matchup at the plate for the Lumberjacks. It's unclear why Ryan Dio would opt to go to a southpaw in this situation, especially down by such a large margin. As Sebastian Burgos does take a looking strike for the first of the at-bat. So the 2-1 delivery there, that one is just outside on a fastball. Sebastian Burgos able to work a hitter's count. And Burgos, 4 for 10, again with a home run against Glens Falls this season, as he takes a ball 4 there on the inside of the plate, as he will walk for the second time tonight. And that'll bring up Connor Tapati to the plate, who will look to do some damage with a man on first. And Connor Tapati, he actually is a hockey referee back home. He's from Southern Pines, North Carolina, which is a little bit of an atypical place to play hockey, but he does take a first pitch strike there. He is also a registered scuba diver as well. So if you ever want to go to the islands with this guy, you know who to call. That is right down the pipe there for strike 2. As he froze kind of Tapati at the plate. And with the 0-2 delivery, Tapati just fouls that ball off. That was a timid swing from the left-handed hitter there, but he's able to get a piece of it to stay alive. As Gabe Gifford still has a payoff pitch to use at his disposal to potentially retire Tapati. So Gabe Gifford eyes down Burgos and in with the payoff pitch, as that one is just low for ball 1. Tapati lays off that one wisely, as that would have been a hard pitch to barrel up right in the low inside corner of the zone. So 1-2 count here for Gifford, as that one gets into the dirt for ball 2. So evens the count at 2 for Tapati. Tapati may have a difficult time pulling a pitch off a left-handed pitcher, given that he's likely to hammer the outside part of the zone here. But he does pull that one there to the second baseman, who turns it over to the shortstop and fires it over to first base for a double play. And that was an excellent turn there from Tyler Figueroa, who fires it over to Michael Sweetie out at short, and then fires it over to Cameron Biller there. As that gets 2 outs for the Glens Falls Dragons. And Akil Nimala will step up to the plate with no men on, as he takes the first pitch ball there. So opens up the count on a high note. But Nimala studying computer science at Florida Tech. So not only is he a great baseball player, but he also is a very studious student. But he is going to try and give the league a shot, similar to his older brother, who's already at the minor league level, drafted in the first round in 2023. He takes a strike on the outside there, bringing the count to 2-1. Gabe Gifford will look to get out of this inning, as that'll be the third ball of the count here. Nimala able to work it to full. Nimala doesn't have a home run yet this season, but he's had a couple really high, low velocity, low trajectory doubles this season that have gone especially into the left center gap, as he skies that one foul. Got a decent hold of that ball, but wasted the hitter's count there, as he will have to protect the plate in a full count bout between him and Gifford. But Gifford has looked like the Dragons' best option on the mound so far. He got Tapati to top out that double play, and he gets Nimala to cut through another pitch there, as that'll mark the end of the inning for Gabe Gifford and Glens Falls, as we head into the top of the 6th between these two teams. We'll be back with that. We are back here with the top of the sixth between the Lumberjacks and the Glens Falls Dragons, as Peter Nedidich III will step out onto the mound for the Lumberjacks in relief of Drew Turner. Nedidich is a sophomore at Queens College. He stands at 6'3" and he's 195 pounds. He's a Bayside, New York local, one of the only two New York players on this Boonville Lumberjacks roster. He had an excellent first season at Queens College, where he had a 4.20 ERA, a 4-2 record, along with 55 strikeouts in 60 innings pitched. So got a considerable amount of playing time there. He is a highly ranked prospect in the state of New York, clocking in at number 53 at the right-handed pitcher position in the state, and he's ranked number 147th in the state of New York as well for his class. He boasts an 85-mile-per-hour fastball and a curveball in the high 60s. He has struggled considerably this season, though, as he has a 20.25 ERA, a 2.85 WHIP, in just over 6 innings pitched, and also just has 3 strikeouts. He delivered a good first pitch there, but the umpire did call it a ball, as Mel was able to fire that into opposite field as it gets past Andy Perez, as he will be in with his second hit of the night. This time it is a single.
Number 8, Andrew Gabriel.
And Nenadich was dealing with an injury a couple weeks back. His last outing was against the Utica Blue Sox in the Lumberjacks' first loss of the season to them. He came in to relieve in the bottom of the 8th inning, and then proceeded to give up 4 runs against the Blue Sox to squander Boonville's lead. That was the first of 2 walk-offs that the Utica Blue Sox have had against the Boonville Lumberjacks this season, as he delivers a first pitch ball to Andrew Gabriel. But just as the Lumberjacks have been very good at coming back and stealing games from teams, the opposite has also been true, as they have squandered a ton of leads due to their bullpen's inconsistency. And Nenadich has been contributing to that inconsistency. But he also hasn't been fully healthy this season on the mound for the Lumberjacks. But he is behind in the count 3-0 to Andrew Gabriel, as he skies that into the outfield, as Mason Rosmono is able to get under that for the first out of the inning. A little bit of a mistake there from Andrew Gabriel, who decided to swing on a ball with a 3-0 count, and he got way under it, sending it into shallow right field. So wasted opportunity there for the Glens Falls Dragons. As that'll keep Robert Mello on first base, and Nenadich fires that into the ground. Newland picks that one up, and Mello is going to be out there at second base. What a strike there from Jacob Newland to Sebastian Burgos, who made an athletic tag just before Robert Mello could get to the second base bag, and that is going to be the second out of the inning for the Lumberjacks, as Nenadich has just one more to earn before Boonville can get out of this inning. As Travis Stroh takes a strike there, so he's down to the count 0-2. And no men are on base, so Nenadich has some room here to work with, and he looked like he put that one right in the strike zone there, but the umpire does not call that one there. Looked like a golden off-speed pitch from Nenadich, as he's in with the payoff and puts that one high and in for ball 2. But it seems like Nenadich thrives when there aren't men on base. That's when he feels most comfortable to really fire in his stuff, and he gets him to look at that one throws him at the plate on a nice breaking slider to get the third out of the inning as Nenadic gets some of his mojo back here and is able to shut down the Glens Falls lineup as we head into the bottom of the sixth. Lumberjacks up 9-2. And we are back here with the bottom of the sixth between the Boonville Lumberjacks and the Glens Falls Dragons as Gabe Gifford steps out to the mound for the second straight inning. He will face Jacob Newland, Mason Rismondo, and Andy Perez, who is at the top of the lineup for the Boonville Lumberjacks. And Jacob Newland was hit by a pitch in the bottom of the first and struck out in the bottom of the third. It looked to have a different outcome in the bottom of the sixth. Seems Jacob Newland and Angel Santiago have really embraced this plate discipline mentality for the Lumberjacks as they both lead the team in walks. He cuts right through a strike there to open the at-bat, the bottom of the sixth. So here at the 0-1 count, Gabe Gifford winds and delivers and puts that into the strike zone for a second straight strike on Newland. He's unable to get his hands around on that one. So he's in a quick 0-2 hole with Gifford on the mound. And with the payoff pitch, he deflects that one, just got a piece of it there to stay alive. And this feisty approach at the plate is what has really defined this Lumberjacks roster, as they don't give up on any at-bat. Gifford again with the payoff. That one is high and outside for ball one. So Newland making Gifford work a little bit here. Gets the first ball of the count after his foul ball. Newland caught a runner stealing last inning behind the plate, and he puts that one into play right into the mitt, but he is unable to corral that there. As that is Joe Carpiers, who is unable to make a routine ground ball play there. Should have had Jacob Newland out at first for the first error of the night for this Glens Falls fielding unit. As Mason Rismondo steps up to the plate, and he takes a first pitch ball low there. So 1-0 count here for Rismondo. He's really changed his approach at the plate, as he has been flaring hits into opposite field throughout the season, that's where he's had the most of his production, is by staying patient, loading that back foot up, and really seeing the ball deep into the strike zone. He's been able to barrel up some clutch singles into right field. We haven't seen much pull from his bat, but he has great technique, and that line drive approach is what really separates him as a hitter. He has great technique in the batter's box as he's able to draw 3 straight strikes against Gifford with a man on first in Jacob Newland. As Gifford delivers a strike, the outside of the zone there, the first of the count. Again, Mason Rismondo in the bottom of this Lumberjacks order has really been putting down some quality at-bats as he flares that one back. And that'll be the second strike on Rismondo. But it's been the bottom of the Lumberjacks batting order that has really separated this unit, as they have been the anchor of the lineup at times. Despite not having the flashiest bats, they get the job done. But Rismondo looks at that one on the outside of the zone, as that would have been a hard pitch to hit. Perfect spot there from Gabe Gifford on the mound, as that'll be the first out of the inning for the Lumberjacks, bringing up the top of the order here with Andy Perez. And Andy Perez, he had a single in the bottom of the first, which has been his lone hit of the night. He's had 2 straight ground outs after that. Gifford puts that right in the zone there for strike 1. Perez opts to look at that one as he fires it back over the first base bag, but not in time as Newland gets back there safely. So 0-1 count to Perez, with the man still on first, as Jacob Newland has been checked multiple times when he's got into to first throughout this game. As Gifford winds and delivers and gets it past Andy Perez on an outside pitch. Got him to turn the barrel on that one, and he's unable to make contact as he reached for it there. Not a very quality swing from Perez there. So 0-2 count, and Gifford has quickly got himself into payoff position as Andy Perez lines that, but it's going to be foul. Good opposite field hitting there from Perez, who's able to do work on that strikeout, or that fastball there. As if that landed fair, it likely would have been a double or even a triple. And Andy Perez also leads this Boonville squad in steals, but Gifford again with the payoff and puts that one low. That's right off the catcher gear, and that flies way back to the backstop. And Jacob Newland's going to opt to take third on that one too. Heads up base running from the catcher, as that one flew up into the air off the pad of Ryan Jones behind the plate. And Jacob Newland doesn't waste any time on the base paths, turning second base and going immediately to the third base bag. That is some excellent coaching there as well from Howie Krause out there at third base. So Andy Perez with a man 90 feet away from home. He takes the second ball of the at-bat here. So 2-2 count here for Andy Perez, who's, again, been able to work back into the count here. As Gifford winds and delivers that, and Andy Perez lives to fight another day. Fouls off another ball, his second of this at-bat. So still a 2-2 count for Gifford, who has been attempting to punch out Perez for quite some time now, but nothing has been able to land, as he's in with the 2-2 delivery. And Andy Perez is able to sky that again for a second straight deflection. So Andy Perez making this a very quality at-bat, upping the pitch count of Gifford as well, which will likely force Ryan Dio to go further into his bullpen. This is his third pitcher that he's had on the mound already, and we're only in the bottom of the sixth. It's Gifford with the payoff again. as that one is just outside. Ryan Jones attempted to frame that inside the strike zone. That is a catcher. One of a catcher's most valuable assets is their ability to frame and deceive an umpire, but he's unable to get the call there as Andy Perez has worked this count to full on Gifford. And he gets another foul ball there. Reached at that one, but he just got a piece of it. As that is the 4th foul ball this at bat now for Perez, who is really working Gabe Gifford. As we head into the 10th pitch of this at bat, Gabe Gifford has been unable to retire Perez, as that one is low, and Andy Perez with a well-earned walk works all the way back from an 0-2 count, and it ends up with him on first base, and he will most likely try and steal second, especially with Jacob Newland at third base. As Angel Santiago steps up to the plate. Angel Santiago, again, had a single in the bottom of the first, but then has had a ground out and a strikeout to follow. This is his 4th plate appearance of the night. Takes a first pitch ball there to open up the count. The runner's still on the corners. And again, with men on the corners, it's very smart for the base runners to coordinate a little bit so that Andy Perez can attempt to steal second base, which could force Ryan Jones to relay it over to the second base bag, which leaves Jacob Newland with an opportunity to steal home. Let's see if Howie Krause devises that here, as that one is just outside there for the second ball of the count. So 2-1 count, 1 out, men still on the corners. Sandy Perez taking his time on the base paths. Surprised that he hasn't tried to steal yet here. As Gifford winds and delivers that, and Andy Perez, as I said, is going to try and he takes that bag there and ends up with a stand-up stolen base, as Angel Santiago has 2 men in scoring position here, and it'll likely just take a single into the outfield to bring both of these speedy players home. And Santiago does have a hitter's count to work with here, as Gabe Gifford winds and delivers that and puts it just on the outside of the strike zone. Angel Santiago already started to walk over to first base. He thought that was outside of the zone, but doesn't get called, as Gabe Gifford will look to retire him here, as he cuts through that one, and that is the 2nd straight strikeout for Angel Santiago on the night, as that one was just a little bit outside, but Gifford got him to bite on that one. His hands reached for it a little bit, and he wasn't going to be able to make quality contact with that anyway. Gabe Gifford rolled the dice, and he got Angel Santiago to bite there, but that'll bring up Chase Triplett, who has been the most dangerous hitter in this Lumberjacks lineup this evening. He has 3 hits in his 3 plate appearances tonight. Each of them he's pulled into right field. He had a double in the bottom of the first, a single in the bottom of the second, and fouled that up with another single in the bottom of the fourth as he fouls that one back there. That was a hard swing there from Chase Triplett. But that'll mark the first strike of the at-bat here. But Jay Gonzalez really encouraging Chase Triplett to let it rip in the batter's box, as that one is fired high for ball 1 of the count. But Triplett does have a lefty pitcher that he's matched up against here in this plate appearance. It'll be interesting to see how he approaches this at-bat differently, especially given how he prefers to really pull the ball. It'll likely be harder to do that with a lefty on the mound, as he cuts through another one there, just missed it, as that'll be the 2nd strike. But Chase Triplett will likely try and get an opposite field base hit against the southpaw on the mound in Gifford. But Gifford does have a payoff pitch and could retire Triplett to end the inning. He winds and delivers, and that one is just outside there. Great eye from Triplett to lay off that, as that was on the outside of the plate, but nearly clipped the zone. But Gifford does not do enough to retire Triplett, and he's back with the payoff pitch. And that one is again outside. So Gifford clearly trying to pitch away from Triplett. And behind the left-handed hitter is Devin Moran, who also has 3 hits on the night for the Lumberjacks. So not much Gifford can do to escape this situation in the bottom of the 6th. So with the full count delivery, Triplett fires that over to second base, and he's unable to get a glove on it, and that is going to flare into the outfield as Triplett gets his 4th hit of the night, and that brings home 2 more. He has 4 RBIs already as he strikes again. Chase Triplett, have a day, young fella, as he keeps his groove in the batter's box and fires another ball in that right center field territory. He got a great hold of that pitch and pulled it as that one was flying off his bat. As that'll mark the end of Gabe Gifford's night. He allowed 2 runs in just under 2 innings pitched. And that'll bring number 34 for Glens Falls to the mound here. Chase Triplett will be at first base, with Devin Moran stepping up to the plate here. Devin Moran again. Sorry, he's gone 2 of 3 tonight, not 3 of 3. He had a ground out in the bottom of the 4th, but nevertheless, he had a 2 RBI double in the bottom of the 1st, and then followed that up with a single in the bottom of the 2nd. But Triplett making the case for this Lumberjacks, to be a Lumberjacks MVP, as he has been tearing it up in the batter's box. Would love to see him get into more of that opposite field territory, as his swing has been a little bit one-dimensional, going mostly to the pull side, but hey, you don't complain when you get a hit. And he is most definitely hitting the ball and hitting it hard as well. But that'll bring up Taylor Neller to the mound for the Glens Falls Dragons, who will be the 4th pitcher of the night for the squad, as they have gone deep into their bullpen. As each of these pitchers have given up at least 2 runs in their outings. Tyler Neller, he's a sophomore at UAlbany. He stands at 6'4", so quite the behemoth of a man. Last season, he had a 9.78 ERA in over 42 innings pitched, so not the best start to his collegiate career, but he did get that valuable playing experience, and it's always a learning curve to pitch at the college level from high school. It always takes a little bit of time, and Neller had to experience that firsthand. But he is the number 62 ranked right-handed pitcher in New York. He's a Chatham, New York product, and his fastball tops out at 86 miles per hour. So Devin Moran will look to do some damage on Neller, who will open up his night, and that will be just outside and low. So 1-0 count for Moran. Man on first base, and Triplett. As that'll also take another ball here. So 2-0 count on Moran. Triplett's still at first base, but Neller working himself into a little bit of a hole here as Moran fires that. But that is going to be well foul. It's a little bit late on that fastball from Neller. It always takes a little bit of time to adjust to new pitchers, especially given different arm movements and different velocities coming off different arms. That's why it takes hitters to really adjust to some of the best big league pitchers, as they typically dominate the first cycle that they go through in order, because you have to really train your eye and have to see the ball in the batter's box firsthand. As he takes another ball there. So 3-1 count for Moran, who will have a hitter's count to work with. As Neller with the hitter's count delivery. He gets him just cut through that one on a nice off speed. As that one nearly got Moran on his knees, as he was well ahead of it and was swinging for the fences. But with such a big lead, you have to feel more free at the plate and able to let it rip. And he gets a piece of that one as Ranjo's unable to corral it. That was a foul-tipped ball, but Moran lives to fight another day. And again, these Lumberjacks are just making contact with the ball to stay alive as they work themselves to either get a walk or really tee up a quality pitch. You sometimes have to be really patient with pitchers. And with the full, as he fires that right back to Triplett, he was about to deliver a full count pitch there, but he opts to keep Triplett in check there at first base. Triplett was dealing with a knee injury earlier in this season, so wonder if Howie Krause is going to even try and send him to second here, as Neller fires that low there, and Triplett is going to round second there and will look to threaten, but he will just stay put, as Moran is able to draw a walk to keep the inning alive, as that'll bring up Garrett DeHart to the plate. He's gone 1 of 3 tonight. He's had a flyout and a ground out, but had a double, which brought in 1 run in the bottom of the first. And he will have a man on first and second base. Neller unable to retire the first batter that he saw. But nevertheless, Garrett DeHart will look to extend this inning, as the Lumberjacks are nearing run rule territory. And if they do get to that point, that would be the 3rd straight run rule victory against the Glens Falls Dragons, as they have really started to dominate them the latter half of this season. So 0-1 count here. He takes a pitch inside there for ball 1. So 1-1 count to DeHart. But as Glens Falls, you're looking for any sort of optimism in this game. Being down 9 runs, you just recorded a very quality performance against a talented Sartee Stallions team, but have fallen short again against the Boonville Lumberjacks, as DeHart fires that over to second base, but that is going to be the 3rd out of the inning, as that was a weak ground ball. And Glens Falls stops the bleeding as we head into the top of the 7th.
Your score at the bottom of the 6th.
And we are back here with the top of the 7th between the Lumberjacks and the Dragons. Lumberjacks have really taken command of this game as they have tacked on 11 unanswered since the first inning. They were really spurned by a 5-run bottom of the first where they had 3 straight doubles and 5 straight hits to open up the ball game. It was looking a little bit dicey because Glens Falls was able to get off to a good start against Drew Turner on the mound. But Ryan Jones will look to get this inning started here for the Dragons with Nenadic on the mound as Nenadic delivers an off-speeder right down the pipe for strike 1. So he's able to get off on a good foot here again. Nenadic again has been one of the relievers really struggling in this Lumberjacks bullpen as Jones flares that back. And Nenadic will have a payoff count to work with here. But he has really been struggling in the bullpen. And he was able to retire all the batters that he saw last inning. So he got off to a good start in this outing. Didn't allow a single run as that one is just off the plate. Nearly clipped it. And so a 1-2 count as Nenadic will have another payoff pitch here. But as a pitcher, you really have to build confidence. And that starts by retiring a few batters and getting a couple solid innings under your belt. If you have earned runs in innings that stack up, then it just continues to diminish your confidence. And that is the last thing that you want to see if you are Nenadic on the mound. So 2-2 count is... He went through that, but that gets to the backstop, and Newland will need to fire it over to first, and he gets it done there as Nenadic gets the strikeout here, his second of the night. He got him to chase badly on a ball that was low in the dirt. He check swung, but it was clearly a full swing as Michael Sweeney will step up to the plate to round out the Glens Falls order here. Jacob Newland nearly allowed another runner to advance off a strikeout. They had one earlier in this game, but that one bounced off the backstop there, and he's able to corral it and use that strong arm to fire it to Niemela at first base. As Nenadic with another quality pitch right down the plate. So 1-1 count here. And this is important for Jay Gonzalez to really showcase his confidence in Nenadic as that one just misses the zone there. So 2-1 count. But if you're a pitcher, you want to see your coach have that trust in you. And I bet this is doing wonders for Nenadic at the mound as that one is in the dirt for ball 3. So 3-1 count here with Sweeney at the plate. And the top of the Glens Falls order is coming up. So the hitter's count delivery. Nearly got him to swing at that one, but he's going to walk a man on here as Sweeney gets on base in his 3rd plate appearance.
Now at bat, number 25.
As that'll bring up Tyree Jackson to the plate. He had a ground out in the top of the 5th, which was his last at bat. He did have a single in the top of the 2nd as well. But Nenadic will have a blank count to order. He fires that back to first base, and he nearly caught Michael Sweeney lacking in that lead there. That was a weak throw there from Nenadic. If he fired that a little bit more quickly, Niemela would have likely been able to get a tag there. But he slides safely back into first. He fires it back again for the 2nd straight time there. But it'll be interesting to see how Nenadic approaches the top of this order, especially with a man on first base. So he winds and delivers that, and that one's low. He's missed low on a couple of these pitches. He really needs to lock that in, as that is typically a sign of an arm that is lacking confidence or one that is fatigued or injured. And you have to wonder if Nenadic is still dealing with that injury as he puts another low pitch there for 2nd straight ball. The Lumberjacks do have some leverage to work with here given the fact that they're up 9, but you don't want to give the Glens Falls Dragons any sort of hope. He fires that back to Niemela. You don't want to give them any sort of hope because this team can get hot, and they can get hot fast. And if the Boonville Lumberjacks show any sort of complacency, then it could wind up being dangerous for them, as Nenadic winds and delivers that and gets it past Tyree Jackson on a nice fastball there. So 2-1 here on Tyree Jackson in the leadoff spot. Michael Sweeney on first base. As Nenadic winds and delivers as he puts that one low and outside again. He's missed in the same spot for the last balls that he's delivered. He'll need to find the strike zone here if he's going to get out of this inning, because things can cascade quickly for Nenadic at the mound as he winds and delivers, and Tyree Jackson flares that back. So that'll be the second strike of the at-bat. So full count here for Nenadic. As he will have a payoff here. He will look to not allow another walk. And that one is going to be outside on a breaking pitch. It was first down the middle of the zone, but then it veered to the outside of the plate as he's unable to stick that breaking pitch for his second straight walk of the inning. As they will go to a pinch hitter here with Christian Moat stepping up to the plate. Christian Moat has really struggled this season. He has a 111 batting average, a .333 on base percentage, and a 111 slugging percentage as well. He has also racked up 8 strikeouts on the season as well. So he will look to get back into his groove here. His twin brother, Logan Moat, is also on the roster. As Nenadic fires that high. He missed low on a couple of his last pitches, but he puts that one high there. Tried to get it, Christian Moat, to swing upstairs on that one. But Moat has also really struggled against the Boonville Lumberjacks. He has gone 0-4 with 2 strikeouts this season. His first appearance against Boonville was in the Lumberjacks' 10-0 win at East Field. He fires that one back, and that'll bring the count to 1-1. So Glens Falls has runners on first and second base here. So Nenadic looks back at second as he puts that one high there, as he has been missing both high and low on the mound. He just needs to find that sweet spot in the middle. He's walked 2 straight men on. We'll look to avoid that with Moat at the plate. As he winds and delivers, and he gets it past Moat on that pitch. Found his groove there and got Moat to cut right through that one, as that'll be the second strike of the at-bat. And Nenadic will have an opportunity to retire Moat at the plate. And Nenadic with the payoff, as Michael Sweeney is going to steal that back. That is going to be a double steal there, and it's going to be a strikeout for Christian Moat too. But Michael Sweeney read that perfectly, and before Nenadic could go back and throw him out, he was already in his pitching motion, and that would have been a balk. So nothing he could have done there, as Michael Sweeney and Tyree Jackson coordinate a double steal here to get on second and third. So great play call from Glens Falls to get them both in scoring position. Now they have a golden opportunity to get 2 runners home to cut into this Lumberjacks lead, as pinch hitter Enrique Diaz will step up to the plate. Nenadic winds and delivers, and he gets him to whiff on that one. That wasn't even close to the plate. Showed him some junk on that pitch and got him to bite. So 2 outs, 1 strike with runners on second and third. Nenadic deals, and he gets him to swing through another pitch that was well out of the zone, as Nenadic has really been tricking Diaz at the plate, as those are both swings that could have easily been avoided. But Nenadic again relying on that off-speed and breaking arsenal to get Enrique Diaz to swing at junk pitches as he goes to his fastball there, but it's high in the zone. You can see what Nenadic was trying to do there. He's trying to get him to swing at an upstairs fastball, which really catches the eye of most hitters, especially given that Enrique Diaz just swung through 2 pitches well outside of the zone. As that one nearly cut and clipped the inside of the zone, but to no avail, as that'll be the second ball of the count, evening it at 2. So Nenadic, with 2 outs, will have a payoff pitch to get out of this inning. As he winds and delivers, and he got him to swing at that one, but Diaz just gets a piece of that there. Nearly got him to whiff at that one for the 3rd time in this at-bat, but Enrique Diaz was able to reach his bat out ahead of that one and dribbled it off just past the third base line. Nenadic again with the payoff, and he gets him to cut right through that one. Nenadic is out of the inning on a fastball that got right past Enrique Diaz, as the Boonville Lumberjacks have blanked the Glens Falls Dragons for 6 straight innings. They'll look to end this game in the bottom of the 7th with another run rule victory. Again, if the Lumberjacks get just 1 more run, then they emerge victorious against the Glens Falls Dragons. We'll be back with the bottom of the 7th after this. And we are back here with the bottom of the 7th of action between the Lumberjacks and the Dragons. The Lumberjacks have scored 11 in this game, as their lineup has really taken control and spearheaded this dominant performance thus far. Sebastian Burgos will step up to the plate for his 4th plate appearance of the night, as he cuts that one back there. Fouls the first pitch off. As Tyler Neller remains on the mound here for the Glens Falls Dragons. As he winds and delivers here, and he puts that one right down the pipe for strike 2. Again, got Burgos to freeze out in the batter's box there. But Burgos, he has recorded 2 straight walks, despite having a strikeout in the bottom of the 1st, and he flares his glasses off again. He has done that quite some time this season, where he's had the glasses to start the at-bat and then puts them off to see the ball a little bit better, as he takes a 3rd pitch strike that clipped the low part of the zone there, as he'll be retired for the 1st out of the inning. As that'll bring up Connor Tapati to the plate. He grounded into a double play in his last at-bat, but he does have a sacrifice fly RBI and also a single, which was his 4th hit of the season. Neller winds and delivers and puts that outside in the zone for strike 1. Didn't look like it was super close to the plate, but that one is called there by the ump. Tapati finds himself down 0-1 in the count here. Neller continues to deal, and he gets him to whiff right through that one. Got a tiny piece of it, but it's flared right back into the mitt of Ryan Jones behind the plate, as that'll be the 2nd straight strike for Neller at the mound. And with the payoff pitch here, Neller as he flares that into opposite field. That is a beautiful piece of hitting there from Connor Tapati. Stayed patient in the batter's box, saw that ball deep into the zone, and just barreled it up at the last moment to spray it into left field. And that is some excellent hitting there from the young catcher. That is what gets you to the big leagues, is your ability to spray to all certain levels of the field. And Connor Tapati showed his opposite field ability there. And that is arguably the most important attribute that you can have as a hitter. So Connor Tapati gets on first as Niemela steps up to the plate. He took a first pitch ball there. Neller with a 1-0 count. Niemela grounds that over to the third baseman, and Enrique Diaz, who flares it over to second, and that is fired over to first for a double play, and that'll end the inning for Tyler Neller. The Glens Falls Dragons able to turn it to get out of the inning. Niemela throws down his helmet in frustration in past the right field line over there, as he is not happy about that. But that is the end of the seventh, as the Lumberjacks aren't able to get another run. We will head to the top of the eighth, where the Glens Falls Dragons will be down to their last 6 outs. Let's see what they can do with it. And we are back here with the top of the 8th inning between the Lumberjacks and the Dragons, as Anthony Schatz assumes the mound for the Lumberjacks to relieve Peter Nenadich, who got through 2 straight scoreless innings. He's able to put down a quality bullpen outing, and that'll likely boost his confidence heading into July, which will be imperative moving forward for this thin bullpen. But Anthony Schatz, Polk State sophomore, he just finished his freshman year there. He has a 3.86 ERA, a 2.00 WHIP, 1-0 record in 7 innings pitched, along with 7 strikeouts on the season. He gets Cameron Biller to cut through that one, tried to hold it up there, but it was too late, as his body was already throwing that bat far enough, and he is unable to hold that back there, as that'll be strike number 1 for Schatz, as that one is right down the pipe. Schatz able to get ahead early in the count. He already has a payoff pitch here. So 0-2 count with Biller at the plate, as Biller skies that into center field, and that is going to be under the mitt of Devin Moran patrolling out there, as that'll mark the first out of the inning.
Number 38, Robert Mello.
As Robert Mello, left-handed hitter, steps up to the plate. This is again a lefty-lefty matchup, and Robert Mello has been the Glens Falls Dragons' most consistent hitter in the batter's box. He had a 2 RBI double in the top of the first, which drove in Glens Falls it's 2 runs, and he also had a single in the top of the 6th as well. So he has been barreling up the ball nicely tonight as he takes 2 straight balls here. But Mello, he's a Pechog, New York product. He's an all-league and top 100 player in Long Island when he was in high school, as he takes a 3rd ball there as Anthony Schatz opting to pitch away from Mello. This is probably the smart decision. He nearly sent that double over the right center field fence, as he can really pull the ball similar to how Chase Triplett has done tonight for the Lumberjacks, as he gets it past him there for the first strike of the at-bat. That would have likely been a ball there, but Mello opts to take the swing, and he walks here, as that one hit the dirt and was well low.
Number 8, Andrew Gabriel.
As Andrew Gabriel steps up to the plate for the Glens Falls Dragons. He reached on an error that he actually struck out on. It was an error by Jacob Newland that hit the dirt and sprayed over the backstop. He reached on that in the top of the 4th, but other than that, he has a strikeout and a fly out to right field. But he does have a man on first here, and he took a first pitch ball. Anthony Schatz winds and delivers here as Gabriel skies that, and that'll likely track foul past the backstop. Hits the little grass hill that we have beyond the backstop here at Hanson Aggregates Field. Jacob Newland thought he might have had a chance at that originally, but it was tracking well far, as he soon realized. But that'll even the count at 1. Bittler remains on first. It's Mello, as Gabriel fires that down the third base line. And he will need to protect here, as Schatz has a payoff pitch to work with. Schatz struggled in one of his most recent outings, which was against Mohawk Valley. It was the suspended game. He came over to take that over, as he gets Gabriel to foul that off there, and it hits the press box back here, foul that behind him, as that is his 3rd straight foul ball in the at-bat. So Gabriel doing a nice job of making contact with the ball and staying alive here. Both teams have done nicely with that. So Schatz with the payoff delivery, and he gets him to cut through that on a off-speed pitch that broke toward the ground, as that'll be Schatz's first strikeout of the night. As Travis Stroh, with 2 outs and a man on first, will step up to the plate. Stroh has 2 strikeouts and a ground out on the night thus far, as Schatz winds and delivers, and he nearly got him to check swing through that one, but he held it up just in time, as that'll be a first pitch ball to open the at-bat. So Schatz with the 1-0 delivery here. He gets him to flare that back, so that'll even the count at 1. But the bullpen has been the real question mark as we've gotten later into this season for the Lumberjacks. They've been notorious for squandering leads. You've seen that in their last 2 games against the Utica Blue Sox. It was because of the bullpen that the Utica Blue Sox walked off the Boonville Lumberjacks. As Schatz delivers that, and it's just low, as that one started on the outside of the plate and cut its way back in, but it was just a little bit low there. So 2-1 for Schatz. But he has been a nice addition to this bullpen, and honestly has been a necessary addition too, as he gets him to cut through that one there for strike 3. Oh, that's going to be strike 2. Thought that was going to ring him up there. Lost count of the strikes on that one, but Schatz will have an opportunity again to strike Stroh out here. So with an even count at 2, 2 outs and a man still on first, Schatz delivers, and he puts that off speed just high. Jumped up a little bit in frustration there as he released that a little bit too early, which put some air on that ball. Stroh will have a full count to work with here. And that is just on the inside, as Travis Stroh will earn his first walk of the contest, and it'll put men on first and second base. As Ryan Jones steps up to the plate for the Glens Falls Dragons. Ryan Jones has a ground out and 2 strikeouts tonight. Glens Falls has had a very serious strikeout issue this season. It's really marred their season. They have the 3rd most Ks and strikeouts in the PGCBL with 174 in their lineup, and that has been true again today, as Ryan Jones just got a piece of that there, but it's going to be a first strike of the at-bat. But a slump can really spread through a team, especially if you don't have the best culture in a clubhouse. If one guy gets down on himself, especially if it's a leader, it can really affect the other guys in the clubhouse, which will also impact their hitting performance, and that could be what is causing this slump for the Glens Falls Dragons, as Ryan Jones flares that out to center field, but Devin Moran trots out under it for the 3rd out of the inning, as we head into the bottom of the 8th, where the Lumberjacks will again have an opportunity to walk this game off, if you will, with just 1 run and get their 3rd straight run rule victory against the Glens Falls Dragons. We'll be right back with that. And we are back here with the bottom of the 8th between the Lumberjacks and the Dragons, as the Lumberjacks have maintained their 11-2 lead. They have blanked the Glens Falls lineup for 7 straight innings heading into the bottom of the 8th, as Aiden Newhall will step onto the mound here. He'll be the 5th pitcher that Ryan Dio is using tonight. He is a junior at UMass Dartmouth, Walpole, Massachusetts local, also part of the Finance Honors College there, a 9.61 ERA his last collegiate season, as that one is delivered for a strike against Jacob Newland, clipped the low part of the zone. So 0-1 count on Newland. And with the 0-1 delivery, he dishes another strike right down the pipe, as he gets Newland to look at 2 straight. But Newland, he reached on an error in his last at-bat, was hit by a pitch in the bottom of the first and struck out in the bottom of the third. And Newhall with the payoff delivery, he pitches that outside, a little throwaway pitch from the southpaw. But Aiden Newhall, he has struggled this season for the Glens Falls Dragons, one of their arms that has really had a negative impact on the staff. He has a 9.64 ERA this season, along with a 2.79 whip in just over 4 innings pitched. He does have 9 strikeouts, though. So, again, we have been seeing this type of production from the Glens Falls staff where they've racked up a ton of strikeouts. It just hasn't contributed to earned runs, as they have racked up a lot so far this season. And the Boonville Lumberjacks have been able to put up 34 runs against the Dragons in their last contest, as the umpire rings Jacob Newland up there on an inside strike for the first out of the inning.
Number 1, Mason.
As that'll bring up Mason Resmondo to the plate for his 4th plate appearance of the night. Resmondo struck out in his last at-bat, but had a fielder's choice RBI in the bottom of the third and then walked in the bottom of the first, as Newhall winds and delivers that and puts it right down the pipe there for strike 1. That fastball can really eat up opposing hitters, and it did so with Mason Resmondo there. He's unable to turn his hands on that one, as that one is flared outside, as Newhall has really been relying on that fastball to do some damage to this Lumberjacks lineup. But with the 1-1 count, 1 out and no men on, Newhall winds and delivers, as that one is just a bit high there for ball 2 in the count. So again, Mason Resmondo working Newhall here. And given that high velocity that Newhall boasts, I would expect Mason Resmondo to try and flare this into opposite field. He doesn't have the highest bat speed there. That's why he gets a lot of that opposite field production at the plate. So if he is going to tee one up here, it'll likely be to opposite field, but he does draw a walk before he can get to that, as that'll be his 2nd walk of the contest and will bring up the top of the order for the Boonville Lumberjacks. So with 1 out and a man on first base, Andy Perez has an opportunity here to do some even more damage. And again, with just 1 more run, the Boonville Lumberjacks will take this game in run rule fashion, as he nearly fell down on that, took a swing for the fences there. Trying to act like Babe Ruth on that one, as he nearly fell out in front of him and tripped over himself there. Andy Perez had to play earlier in the game where he got into a pickle between home plate and the first base bag as well, where Cameron Biller just ran after him to tag him, playing a little bit of trickery there, because you can never know what happened. Very similar to what Javier Baez would do when he was on the Cubs. He had a couple of those famous plays there, as that one is taken right down the plate for strike 2 in the count. So Perez gonna have to be smart here. He does have a very powerful bat and has quick hand speed, but he needs to display some discipline here at the plate if he's going to make some difference here on Newhall, as that one is flared into right field, and that is going to drop for a single, as Andy Perez is able to get his 2nd single of the night. As that will advance Mason Resmondo to 2nd as well, as Angel Santiago steps up to the plate. And Angel Santiago, he's had a strikeout in his last 2 at-bats, but he was able to drive in a run off a ground out in the bottom of the 2nd, and also had a single in his first plate appearance of the night. Newhall and Ryan Jones are deliberating here in terms of what they should do with Angel Santiago, who obviously is a very big threat at the plate. Angel Santiago, he can boast a .325 batting average this season, so he is really been one of the Lumberjacks' stronger hitters in the batter's box. He also has gone 5 of 10 with 4 RBIs and 4 walks against the Glens Falls Dragons before this game. He has gone 1 of 4 tonight, however. As Newhall winds and delivers that, and he puts it right down the plate on a fastball again. Goes back to it there, and it pays off as he's able to put it right down the pipe for strike one. So Newhall with men on first and second base. Santiago at the plate. Winds and delivers, and he puts that just inside there for ball one in the count. As Santiago had to evade that a little bit, pushed his hips out, and evaded the hit by pitch there. That one was tracking inside. So the 1-1 count here. Took a little bit of a break there in the action for Santiago to ready himself for this pitch. As Newhall winds and delivers here. As Santiago flares that out to opposite field, and that is well foul. It's a very low trajectory line ball there, and you could hear the impact that it had. That is the type of exit velocity that Angel Santiago has. There's a reason why he boasts a 103.1 mile per hour exit velocity, which has really driven his power ability throughout his collegiate career. He's one of the top shortstops in the state of Florida. And Newhall with the payoff delivery, he gets it out ahead on Santiago. He's able to dribble that right past Newhall there, and that is going to be an infield single for Angel Santiago, who loads up the bases for the Lumberjacks. That one just got past the glove of Newhall, who attempted to leap up into the air and get to that ball at the pitcher's mound. But once that got past him, it was going to be a long run for the infield, who's playing a little bit back there, given the power of Santiago. And that'll bring up Chase Triplett to the plate, as he has been the Lumberjacks' most formidable hitter of the night, and he takes a first pitch strike there. So a 1 count to Triplett. But this is a guy that you want at the plate in a potential scenario that could end the game for the Lumberjacks. He has gone 4 of 4 tonight with 4 RBIs. There would be no better ending for this left-handed hitter than going 5 of 5 with a base hit that ends the game. So 1-1 count here for Triplett. Newhall winds and delivers that, and he gets him well out ahead on that one. Made him spin around and do a spin cycle there, as Chase Triplett was well ahead on that pitch. Again, he's swinging hard. All the guys in this top of this order are in a groove and are really swinging for the fences. Maybe unwise as a hitter. You really want to have a methodical swing as he gets it past Triplett there. Got it on the outside of the plate, and he's well ahead of that. And he spun back again there for his first strikeout of the night, and that'll bring up Devin Moran to the plate with 2 outs, and the base is still loaded. But Devin Moran, he's gone 2 of 3 tonight and has had a walk as well, as he takes a high ball there to open up the count. Again, Devin Moran, of Dominican descent. Again, he went to St. Cloud Technical. He's a very aggressive plate approach, as that one gets past him, and Mason Rosmono is going to attempt to steal home, and he gets there in time, and that is going to mark the end of the game, as it seemed like Glens Falls was just ready for this blowout to be over, as the catcher Ryan Jones simply just trots out to get after that ball, and the game will end on a pass ball. So a bit of an anticlimactic ending here.
And that's the ball game. Your final score: Boonville Lumberjacks 12, Glens Falls Dragons 2.
Is that is going to be the Boonville Lumberjacks' 12th win of the season. They move to a record of 12-8 on the season and get their 3rd consecutive run rule victory against Glens Falls, as they have outscored the Dragons 34-2 in their last 3 contests, as this has been just pure domination from Boonville. And they will have a rest day tomorrow before continuing their season on Tuesday back here at Hanson Aggregates Field, where they will look to get another win. And we'll see if Boonville can keep up their magic as they continue to cement their third place spot in the East Division, which is well within the range of a playoff spot for them. And they'll be back. And man, it has been a treat to watch them, but this is Grant Walters on the call. We'll be back next time. Have a great rest of your evening, y'all.